Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Whiskey and Wires. This is John Bingham, and I am terribly excited to have with me today the face of Warmoth Guitars, as well as the father of many delinquent children around the world, Mr. Aaron Cheney.
Hi, John.
What's happening?
How's it going, man?
Good. How are those delinquent kids these days?
Well, they keep me up late. I'm worried about them, but, hopefully they'll find their way.
Oh, they'll do just fine if they stay out of the guitar business.
Yes.
So Aaron Cheney, for those of you who don't know, does all of the marketing and, basically the face outwardly of Warmoth Guitars, as well as the guitar player for Non Jovi. Is that right?
Non
Jovi, which is great. Tribute band up in the Seattle area, as well as Second Sting, which is a Scorpions tribute band, and you are Matthias.
Yes, I'm the Matthias, the Michael, or the Uli, depending on what era we're playing.
Yeah, so you get an idea of what kind of music this kid's into.
Mm-hmm.
As for me, I have some questions for you about Warmoth.
Sure.
I really do, because as a lot of the people that come to this channel know, I play Warmoth guitars like 90% of the time. I've got 3 of them out of like the 8 or so guitars that I have and play. 3 of them are Warmoth builds, and 2 of them are 100% of the time like in my hands, which totally takes away from the 90% number that I threw out a few moments ago. If you're looking for accurate percentages, folks, this is not the place you want to be. So tell me a bit about the Warmoth cake. How long have you been doing that?
I've been doing it, I think my 7-year anniversary just passed. So I'm in my 8th year, and most of the time I have no idea how I landed here. I keep waiting for somebody to storm into my office and tell me that they've figured me out and that I'm unemployed.
You're almost a doctor at Warmoth.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Did you start in marketing?
Yeah, before I had worked in the industry a long time ago, and then I left, meaning the music industry. And then I left and I worked for actually a fine jewelry manufacturer for 25 years, and I did marketing there. And then around 2012, 2013, left that and came to Warmoth.
Wow.
So I've been doing marketing for a long time.
That's kind of cool. Are you, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever it was that you were in the music business, obviously it was a much different landscape. What were you doing back then?
There used to be up in the Seattle area and Portland, a chain of musical instrument stores called Music West. And I managed one of those locations for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you ever think that it was going to look like it does now back then?
No, I didn't. Back then, you still could, the idea that you could sign a record contract and get paid to make records, that just seemed like the way it was and would always be.
Right.
And now there's no money there ever. So.
Right. Yeah, it's wild. I think that there's more people on YouTube playing guitar and making money than there are probably out in the professional world, like actually touring and making money.
Absolutely. It's funny because Warmoth gets approached quite often by guys who are like, hey, I like Warmoth products. I'd love to endorse you. I play all these gigs. We tour all over the country. And a lot of times I just have to say, thanks, but that just doesn't do us any good because, people, our necks don't have our logo on them. And so people just see what you're playing. They assume it's Fender. It doesn't do us any good. And what we really seek now are YouTubers who can talk about our products explicitly. And so that's another part of the industry that's kind of changed, at least for us.
Right. How come there isn't an option? Is there a legal thing behind why there's not an option to have a Warmoth logo on the headstock?
Yep, that's part of our licensing agreement with Fender.
Got it. Okay, yeah. That's what I figured you'd say.
Yeah.
But I fully get why Fender wouldn't put their name on it.
Yeah.
But your name, yeah. Anyway, is there
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna ask, is there I've seen a lot of your videos where you've got your guitars, you've got parts, guitars, and things that you guys have pieced together over there. Is there a body and neck like wood combination that you've discovered so far that you say this is the holy grail combination?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you what I personally like, and this is again coming from a guy who's an 80s guitar player, plays humbuckers primarily. I think I really like basswood with a maple top. For me, that has always turned out good. And second to that would be mahogany body.
And do you just do maple neck on that too?
I do maple neck with rosewood fretboard. That's all I ever do for my own personal guitars.
Got it. Is there much to, I know there's a big argument out there. One of my really close friends believes adamantly that wood has no effect on the final product of your tone when it's coming out of your speakers. Mm-hmm. He's like one of these guys that just says it's everything else, but ultimately it's the pickup and it's, through your amplifier, and that's what it is. Do you think there's what side of that argument do you land on?
Well, you don't waste any time wading into the shark-infested waters, do you?
No, you got to get the people to stick around.
That's right.
I know that everybody out there's got a different opinion.
Yeah. I've done tons of comparison videos, as you probably know, and I absolutely think that wood makes a difference.
Yeah.
And the guys who disagree, they're like passionate about it.
Right.
But man, I've done body woods comparisons, I've done neck woods comparisons, I've done like neck thickness comparisons, and you take any of those things in isolation and they don't make much difference. The difference is very subtle. But you start combining all those things and you end up with this recipe that results in a certain tone.
Yeah. And
if I had to pick one thing, this is another kind of controversial thing that people go crazy about, because the internet wisdom is that tone follows the neck. But I really think that the body wood has more influence on the tone than the neck would. The tests that I've done, that's what I've heard.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I take a lot of... Sorry, go ahead.
No, finish your thought.
I was just going to say I take a lot of flack on our comparison videos for not using like a spectral analyzer to show the differences and stuff. And the reason I don't do that is because I don't think it makes a difference, because, perception is reality. And if you can hear a difference, then there's a difference to you.
Sure.
If you can't hear a difference, then there's no difference to you.
Right.
So many things can change the way you perceive things. My ears hear things differently on different days, or you have old ears or young ears or trained ears or untrained ears. So all that matters is what you can hear. And
what if you have reindeers?
What kind of ears?
Reindeers. Yeah.
Reindeers?
It's a terrible pun. That's all.
I can't vouch for them, man. I don't
know. So what about like weight? Like if I took an ash body that is a 3.5 pound body versus like a nearly 5 pound body, that's gonna sound different.
Yeah, I think it does. And again, take it in isolation and it makes such a minimal difference. But I think that a real heavy guitar, and again, it could be perception. You're holding this heavy guitar, it resonates against your body differently. And so that affects your total perception. But my sweet spot is usually around 7.5 pounds for a Strat, and maybe 8 to 8.5 pounds for a Les Paul. Any heavier than that, and I don't feel like it makes it any better. It just makes my shoulder tired.
Sure.
But I think any lighter than 6.5 pounds, and it starts to change the tone again.
Right.
Better or worse is subjective, but that's what I hear.
I wonder if having a big fat guy like me versus having a thin guy who's athletic and very handsome like yourself playing the same guitar pressed up against your body, I wonder if that somehow would impact the sound differently. Just from the mere fact that there's a soft, squishy surface behind my guitar and not so much behind yours.
You know what? I mean, we're joking, but it very likely could.
I think it could.
It's got a different surface, a different mass that it's resonating against.
It's damping.
Yeah, that's right. I remember back, man, this was back when I worked for Music West, and I went to a product, I don't know, the regional rep or something for West Tone Guitars. Was doing some kind of a product demo downtown Seattle, and he was talking about how they carved their bodies in a certain scientific way to all resonate at A440, and talking about how amazing this was. And somebody stood up in the back and said, "Yeah, but I tuned down a half step." And he stood there looking like he just swallowed a roll of nickels, and he never really recovered from that.
Oh, that poor guy.
Yeah, I know.
That was the sales pitch too.
Yeah.
Oh, I've ruined a few clinics in my day, working in music stores and throwing back information at guys. Yeah, poor guy.
Yeah.
That's really funny. So, I mean, all right, I fall personally, and this will get me in trouble with a couple of people. I fall personally in the camp of I don't know scientifically how it makes a difference, but I feel like it makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And this is because I've talked to guys like you. I've talked to Grover Jackson. I've talked to John Suhr. And all these guys that make these guitars, oddly enough, have all said that they feel like it makes a difference. And this is behind the scenes, so it doesn't feel like marketing speak.
Right.
Especially talking to Grover Jackson, he referred to it as like a soup. He said, every part of it is an ingredient in the soup, so to say, and all of it matters when it's coming out the speaker. And
right.
There's something to that.
Yeah, I mean, I get accused of being biased when I talk about this kind of stuff because I'm the marketing guy for Warmoth, and of course we want you to place value on exotic woods and spend more money. But the truth is, the execs at Warmoth pretty much let me say whatever I want to say. Yeah. I do these test videos, and I just say what I find. Yeah. So some people will never believe it, but the videos I do on our YouTube channel, I'm being like 100% honest. So, and as far as the tone thing, I mean, I think we can all agree that a Les Paul sounds different than a Strat.
Sure.
So there's clearly something making them different, and you can get rid of some of the obvious things like the pickups. Those are maybe the biggest factor. But I think that if you swap the pickups in them, I don't think a Les Paul with single coils is still going to sound like a Strat.
Right.
And vice versa. So there's still other factors making it different, and then you just start trying to isolate them and figure out what has a bigger effect than other things, and
sure.
And then all madness breaks loose and people start getting angry.
Maybe when this coronavirus isolation occurs, one of the things that people try to be nicer about out there in the universe is that body woods either do or don't matter, but they're not going to get angry about it.
Right.
They'll lose the hostility.
This is just, I mean, the goal is to make the best music we can.
Right.
That's all of our goals, I hope. I mean, some people build as a hobby, and if that's how they enjoy music, that's great, and they can get into it. But like for me, I just want tools that help me make the best music I can. And so if I hear a difference and that's what I go with, and it helps me make better music, then I think that's great. And
Sure.
I'm happy to let anybody else feel the same way about whatever their thoughts and preferences are. And, you know,
I hear you.
yeah.
What about the perception that this is not a custom shop guitar, but rather just a parts guitar?
That's something that Warmoth struggles with, because as soon as you make it a regular menu offering, people no longer consider it custom. And so we say, well, we're a custom, a custom guitar parts place. And they say, no, you're not. You can make a neck and you give me 10 options, but I can't call in and request, like a fanned fret, zero radius, whatever neck, because you won't make it for me. So you're not a custom shop. And so we struggle with that a little bit. But I mean, when you think about the products that we offer and the amount of options that you can get from us that you can't get from other manufacturers short of going to their custom shop.
Totally.
I feel like we're totally a custom shop. And the whole parts guitar thing, it's an easy way to express what you do, but I just wish people would think more along the lines of, when you put a Warmoth part, when you customize a guitar with Warmoth parts, you're getting something that you can't get anywhere else short of a custom shop.
Absolutely. That's my thought. I have a video that I posted that was my Warmoth video that has blown up. It's closing in on 90,000 views right now, which to me is shocking. I would have never thought that would happen. And you scroll through the comments and everything, and there's a lot of people that are really cool about it. And then there's a handful of people that are always going to be there that want to be real curmudgeon-y. And I've got people saying this is this video is clickbait or it's whatever, because these are not custom guitars, they're just parts guitars.
Right.
To my, and my rebuttal to that, of course, is if I wanted Fender to make my guitar that I ordered from Warmoth, I would have to go to the custom shop. Yeah. They won't even take an American Standard Strat, for example, and put a 6105 fret wire on it. Right. Without me going to the custom shop. So right. As far as that goes, my opinion, of course, is that you guys are absolutely filling that gap. Right. Do you hear a lot from different people out there what you just described, or is it not all that common?
No, we hear it, and I feel the same way you do. I mean, a lot of things that really make a guitar custom, you can't see just by looking at it. You can't see that I have the exact fret size that I want, that I have the exact neck back contour that I want, and the exact radius that I want. That's not visible to the naked eye, but that makes so much difference in how you can play and how easy it is to play, and you couldn't get that short of a custom shop.
Sure.
Yeah.
Can I share my Stratocaster with you?
Absolutely.
Check this out. First of all, I put the logo on it from your company. Mm-hmm. Maple neck, right? Looks like a Strat. Looks entirely like a Strat. I didn't bother putting a backplate on it because who needs a backplate? But, people will say, oh, you made a Stratocaster. I did, but what I did with this particular guitar is something that Fender's not going to do for me. It's got a Goto 510V vintage style bridge on it because that trem arm holder is, in my opinion, the best in the business. It's smooth as anything could ever be. It's got DiMarzio Area 58s and a Pro 54. Beside that, it was a custom ordered lightweight specific ash body. And then the neck is a what do you guys call this neck? It's a modern neck with a more of a vintage radius. It's the 9.5-inch radius, but it's got stainless steel jumbo frets on it. It's got locking Goto vintage style tuners on it, and all of this stuff is It's parts that throw together to make a guitar, but it's parts that I throw together to make a guitar that I literally can't get from a company like Fender without spending $4,000.
Right.
And this particular guitar is awesome. It came out unbelievable. I think the total weight on that thing is about 7.4, which is, it's good. The back profile of the neck is a 59 round back Les Paul profile, and so it feels a little bit beefier in the shoulders. It's really, really great. So that guitar is one of my main guitars that I play often and always. It's kind of a always out. I never have it in the gig bag or the case or anything.
Right.
And it's just fantastic that, like I said, it's fantastic. I'm kind of like blowing wind up your skirt now, but it's great. It's great. And I love the fact that I can't get it anywhere else. And to all the people out there who say it's not custom, what makes it not custom would be my question to those people.
Yeah. And I think maybe what a lot of people would say is that is that when you see a guitar built with Warmoth parts, you don't know who put it together.
Yeah.
And that can make so much difference. Do you put the guitars together yourself, or do you have somebody else do it?
I put it together, and then like with all of my guitars, after I get them together, I take them to a guy. I'll give him a shout out here, Dave Ruchinsky at Westwood Music in Los Angeles. I take it to him. He'll do a plec and a final setup for me.
Right.
And they always turn out fantastic. So I mean, I guess it's a Dave Ruchinsky custom if you wanna give the credit to whoever the final builder is. Or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I build my own too, and honestly, I usually play the frets just out of the box. They definitely are better if you have a pro fret work done for sure, but they are playable out of the box. And one thing that we have to be careful of at Warmoth is calling them Stratocasters, because for us, our licensing agreement with Fender is for replacement parts. So for us, it's a Stratocaster replacement neck. It's a Stratocaster replacement body, and there is a lot of misunderstanding about our license agreement with Fender out there, and it really comes down to 4 headstock shapes: the Strat, Tele, J, and P. Well, and J and P are kind of the same headstock shape, but it's really those 4 headstock shapes is the scope of our licensing agreement with them. But for those 4 headstock shapes, they're replacement parts only as far as we're concerned.
Got it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. A moment ago you'd mentioned something about people requesting crazy stuff like fan frets and different things like that. Mm-hmm. What kind of off-menu options are there? Like, what's the secret Warmoth menu?
The secret Warmoth menu is, well, our website, like, we've done the math before, and the amount of possible combinations for a body or a neck on our site is literally in the trillions. And it's bonkers, and you just can't lasso everything into the site. It's too hard. It would be easier if it was like an a la carte menu where you're just like, yeah, I'll take those frets, I'll take that fretboard, I'll take that radius, and you could just go down and pick them. But the truth is, every option is contingent on an option that you chose before, or a combination of options that you chose before. If you chose this wood and that fretboard, then you're offered only these kind of finishes or only this kind of neck joint or whatever. So you just can't lasso everything into that. So stuff that we'll do if that's not on the website. Some of it's talked about on the website, but not all. Like, for example, we will paint the face of a headstock, or we'll put a laminate on the face of a quilt maple or something.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah, and just all kinds of other things. Like a lot of times people will want a neck made out of a wood that's not on the website. Like they'll want a neck with black Carina shaft wood. It's not on the website. And like in that case, it's a matter of we can't always be sure that we're going to have blanks of the correct size available. So you can't make it a permanent offering. But if somebody calls in and we happen to have, a base size blank of Pal Ferro, then we'll make you a neck out of that, no problem.
Oh, that's cool.
And a lot of things that we don't offer are processes that are not reliable. For example, if you want a spalt maple top on a body with a forearm contour, that's not on the menu, because spalt maple often try and bend it like that. So, you'll see those show up in the showcase, and people are like, why is it in the showcase and not on the thing? It's because if the showcase, when we're making them for the showcase, if one breaks, there's not an angry customer. So
understood.
Yeah.
Understood. Are there options to do things like wood laminates? Like say hypothetically you wanted to do something which is kind of a modern thing people are doing. You wanted to do like a maple and wenge neck, where you say, can you do can you build a blank that would have like a wenge strip down the middle of it or anything like that?
Certain things are too fundamental of a change, and they would require too much R&D, and that would be one. And we have been getting requests for like, can I have a 3-piece neck or a 5-piece neck?
Right.
Those are so fundamental that they would require R&D time to make them reality.
Got it.
And we can't go that off the beaten path.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's totally reasonable. The exotic wood thing that you guys do, there's a lot of exotic wood options. And I'm assuming that you probably sell thousands of exotic wood bodies and necks and everything every year. Are there any that are particularly terrible to work with, or any stories that you've heard behind the scenes where you're like, this is a cool looking wood, but if I breathe in the sawdust, it's going to kill me, or anything like weird?
Yeah, Cocobolo is very well known for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can work with Cocobolo and be fine, and then at some point develop an allergy to it, and from then on you can't work with it, and it's very irritating to your to your eyes and stuff, and respiratory. And we had a guy that was that way a while back, and we would have to ask him to work in a different department or something when we were working with Cocobolo, because it was so carcinogenic. Is that the right word? I don't know. So
that means it'll give you cancer. Yeah. All right. Toxic.
Yes.
Wow. No kidding.
Yeah.
I've heard the same thing about Purple Heart. I think that the sawdust from Purple Heart's real bad for you.
Yeah. A lot of those exotic woods, the African woods, can be like that.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
and you do a lot of those guitars.
Yeah. Yep. We do.
Do you have any behind you right now? Any real exotic, real crazy looking guitars?
I don't. I honestly don't. Oh, I'm not. Most of that stuff back there is my personal collection, and I don't.
Right.
I'm not personally a fan of exotic woods too much.
Okay.
I love koa, but I don't have a koa guitar back there. That's all maple and rosewood and alder.
Oh, here you go.
That's awesome.
That's one that I built. This is one of my Warmoth guitars. This is a koa top on a mahogany back. The mahogany looks amazing. The koa was it was one of the unique feature koa, or not unique feature. What do you call it? Unique selection?
Oh, unique choice.
Yeah. I picked that out of that bin. So it's a koa top on a mahogany body, a single Seymour Duncan Saturday Night Special, at a push pot in that, so I can split the coils, and a wenge neck.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you something about the wenge neck. I love the wenge neck. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
I bought that one from you guys. I liked it so much I made another one. This is my number one. This is the one that's on stage every time I go on stage. Yngwie neck. Again, just a single pickup, single switch. But this is an alder body. I wanted this one to be much more like just a more traditional sounding guitar. But God, these Yngwie necks are phenomenal. No finish required.
I like that you signed the headstock too.
I wanted to do something different. Just wanted it to be my own thing. So I took a paint marker and just signed it.
It's your own signature model.
That's exactly right.
That's what I tell people a lot. Is basically when you build a guitar with all your options and stuff, you're basically creating your own signature model.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, these things are awesome. The neck is the modern neck, so you get that double expanding truss rod inside of it with the side adjustment. The side adjustment I love. It's it's one of my favorite adjustments on a truss rod, and considering that I grew up in the Midwest, used to have to adjust the truss rod a lot because the humidity swings so much.
Right.
But it's funny, now I live in LA, I never have to adjust it.
Yeah.
I can't tell you the last time I needed to do a truss rod adjustment on any of my guitars.
Yeah, that's the same with me. The ones that are the worst are the Gibsons, honestly.
Yeah, sure.
Those things are so temperamental, but on the Warmoths, I've set them up the first time and I've never touched them since.
Yeah. See, behind my left shoulder there's a Gibson SG hanging there.
Mm-hmm.
Guitar sounds great. Can't get it to stay in tune to save my life.
That's the curse. Well, there's two curses of Gibson. Not to trash Gibson, but so many of their designs are neck heavy. SGs, Explorers, Flying Vs all tend to be neck heavy because they don't have a horn that's coming out to make the guitar balance properly. And the other thing is tuning, and I know that will incur the ire of Gibson fans, but yeah, I have a couple Les Pauls, and they are great sounding guitars, but they are so cantankerous when it comes to staying in tune.
Right.
And SGs, I mean, if you turn your head to the left, they'll go out of tune,
Yeah, we're gonna end up hearing from guys. So, oh, you just don't have them set up right. That's gonna be the first thing I'm gonna hear it.
Yeah.
So, well, just tell that to every other guitar that I have here in my house that never goes out of tune. They're all set up by the same guys. It just is what it is. But
again, though, I think it comes down to individual perception. Like, I'm a guy that I hear things when they're out of tune so fast, and they don't even have to be that far out of tune, and I hear it, and I don't think other people do. I think some people can hear that better than other people. So,
Sure. Beginner guitar players, a lot of times you notice that with, where, oh, let me show you something I just learned, and they start playing and they're out of tune. They don't really catch that they're out of tune. Mm-hmm. And you're just like, ooh, sounds good.
Yeah, I taught guitar for 15 years, and I used to tell my students that being out of tune is like one drop of black ink in a bucket of white paint. Once it's in there, it doesn't matter how good you play it, it's always going to be messed up. You can't get it out until you get in tune.
That's absolutely right. That's funny. That's a good analogy. So what kind of can you spill the beans a little bit about what kind of like off menu request? What are like the really popular off menu requests? What do people out there want?
Oh man, the thing is, one of the customer service reps would probably be better to talk to about this, but I know that.
Get Spike on the line. Where is he?
Yeah, right. The off-menu requests just vary so much. I mean, I've seen things like, well, we do a full scalloped neck and a half scalloped neck. I've seen like a scalloped from the 15th fret up only. There's the 720 mod, which is, I guess that's not really a secret request, but we do that quite often for people. We actually took it off the website a while back, and there was immediate outrage, and so we put it back on. And in case people don't know what that is, it's basically, it lowers the shelf of the neck pocket so that the neck drops in the pocket a little bit further and everything kind of comes down closer to the surface of the body.
Right.
Lots of woods.
People asking for like set neck guitars and things like that.
All the time. And Ken Warmoth, back in the day, built lots of set neck guitars. He built all kinds of things, but we haven't done it for years and years and years and don't have any plans to.
No, I can imagine that would make building very difficult.
Yeah, well, see, the thing is, we're a parts company. And so once you start doing neck throughs or set necks, then you're not as much a parts company. You're building complete guitars. And at this point, that's just not really our gig.
Right.
And the other thing is, like, we have the capability to do pretty much anything that any custom shop in the world can do. But it's a question of how much are people going to pay for a part. We could do all these nice carved top, PRS style or Les Paul style carved tops and crazy woods, but people don't value the part the way they value a complete guitar. Like PRS can do that, and then they can charge $4,000 for a guitar,
right,
because it's a guitar. Whereas, if you break that into parts and you say, okay, we've done this cool top, it's $1,200. People are going to say, what, are you crazy? I'm not going to pay $1,200 for a part when it's similar to what that would cost from PRS. It's just that they've added the value of making it into a complete guitar.
Right.
So that's another reason why we don't do things like that.
I think that's funny that you mentioned that $1,200 number. I think that all of these guitars that I've shown you so far, I don't think I've spent more than $1,200 on any of them. Complete. And they're fantastic. Do you have any idea what this might again be like a sales question, but any idea like what the average build ticket is for a complete guitar from you guys? Or like average, what a base one would be?
I would say if you're trying to get out as cheap as possible, like, for example, your bodies look like or at least your Koa one looks like you probably put an oil finish on it yourself, maybe, or...
Yeah, that's all true oil, yeah.
Yeah, so you could do something like that. You don't have to pay for a finish, and you could get a roasted maple neck, which also doesn't require a finish, and you could probably build a guitar for, I don't know, $600-700. I would say the average is probably closer to $1,000, maybe, or just under. And then, of course, if you want to get, fancy inlays and neck binding and body binding and a, flame maple top and a fancy paint job, you could spend $1,800 probably.
Sure, of course. I think this was my latest one. I think this one, with exception of the fact that I've changed this pickup like 3 times, I think my initial build cost on this was somewhere like around like $1,050 or something like that. It was pretty reasonable. So for guys out there that are entertaining the concept of putting together a guitar, but they're not sure how much they're going to have to spend or anything, you can get yourself a great guitar for $1,000 pretty easily, and then go up from there depending on how much how much vanity you want to put into the guitar, basically. Right. Yeah. Now, at one point in time, you had made BC Rich shapes. I remember years ago going to the Warmoth website and seeing bitches and seeing stuff like that. And that stuff's not there anymore.
Yeah, we made, long before I worked there, but back in the 80s and maybe the early 90s, I know that we made like a Warlock and probably a bitch and maybe an eagle or a
yeah, sure.
Yeah, and I was there. That was all before my time, and discontinuing those products was also before my time. But I would assume that we were asked to stop making those, and so we did.
Probably, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know if that's what happened, but I'm assuming.
Sure. Has there ever been like any OEM? Did Warmoth start in any way, shape, or form with OEM product? For those who don't know what that means, by the way, OEM is original equipment manufacturing, so it means that they would have built parts for other companies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've done a lot of that in the past. We don't do it so much anymore. But we've done, a lot of people know that we did the Yamaha Pacificas for a time. We've done stuff for the Gibson Custom.
I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I had no idea.
Yeah, there's a lot of 90s Yamaha Pacificas that are all Warmoth parts.
No kidding.
Yeah, we've done work for the Gibson Custom Shop. We've done Pensa Sur back in the day. Man.
Hold on a second. So you're telling me that all these people out there who criticize that it's a parts company and that you know it's not equal to a custom shop, but you were making guitar parts for the Gibson Custom Shop.
Indeed.
There you go, folks.
And
John Sur as well. You said Pensa Sur guitars.
Yes. We did the Valley Arts.
Okay.
We did the Valley Arts parts for a long time. Yeah. More recently, we've done parts for Taya. We've done parts for tons of companies. But like I said, we do very little of it anymore because honestly, it's easier to do parts direct to the customer. You get paid quicker, and we've just kind of made that our focus, less the OEM. But we get approached by companies all the time.
I believe
all
it.
the time. Yeah, and big companies whose names
sure,
approach us all the time to build parts for them, and a lot of times we just say no.
That's wild. That's amazing. So when you come home at night and you're not dealing with all this and people asking you about Warmoth stuff and you're doing Non Jovi and Second Sting and writing your own material and all that sort of stuff, what's what's kind of like your favorite stuff to sit around and play?
Man, I am so eclectic when it comes to my musical tastes and the stuff I play. Like anybody who follows the Warmoth channel knows I'm a big Van Halen fan and just all things 80s in general. But I'm also a huge John Denver fan and a huge Brad Paisley fan and
that guy can rip.
Oh my gosh, yeah. He's amazing. He's one of those guys that's so good it pisses you off.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And like I'm that way with the music I work on personally. I mean, I'm in the 2 80s tribute bands, but I spent like a good decade and a half doing the country songwriter thing, going to Nashville, pitching my songs.
No kidding.
And, yeah. And, I don't know why. It must have been, from my parents or whatever. I just have a knack for writing country songs. It's the thing I hate most about myself. Yeah. But I'm really good at it.
It's that internal struggle. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's funny.
And so I've written tons of country tunes. I've had a little success with some cuts here and there, but never the lightning strike that would, make me rich.
Right, sure.
Yeah. I love funk music. I just dabble in all kinds of things.
All right, give me a desert island record from the 1970s.
Oh man.
I know it's like the hardest question.
Van Halen 1 is too easy. Maybe some of the early Police. Maybe some Dio era Black Sabbath. Man, that's tough.
That's good stuff right there.
Yeah,
Bob Rules.
Oh my gosh, Neon Nights. To me, a lot of people like Van Halen, for example. People like David Lee's the original singer. I don't even acknowledge the Sammy Hagar era, but for me, it's just the opposite with Black Sabbath. I cannot stand Ozzy, and I love Dio so much.
He's a much better singer for sure.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, but I mean, I would have to go with Van Halen 1. I mean, it's the reason I started playing guitar. It's the reason I play guitar today. I still woodshed those tunes. I have to go with Van Halen 1.
Did you talk to Dave Friedman at all about Van Halen 1 versus 2?
No, but I have seen him talk about it. I know Van Halen 2 is his favorite.
That's his favorite, yeah.
Yeah.
It blew me away when he said that. I had no idea that was his thought. I was always of the opinion that Van Halen 1, or not the opinion, but I was always kind of told that Van Halen 1 was like the benchmark for guitar tone. Mm-hmm. That was the record. And he's like, no, Van Halen 2 is much better. And so lately I've been listening to a lot of Van Halen 2. It does have really good guitar tone on it.
Oh, yeah. If you're going to talk about like the benchmark for Eddie, it's got to be Unchained.
Okay.
Me, the tone on Unchained is just like, okay, now if I could have that, I'd be done.
Somebody showed me a video once of him in the studio recording the guitar part for Unchained. And the thing that was so cool about it was seeing him with the flanger pedal. Mm-hmm. He was turning on and off the flanger pedal in that riff, because every time he would do the gunk, 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 he would turn it on. But when he would hit the chordal part of it, that bam, bam, it was off. So right. He was only hitting it for that low pedal tone, bow, 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 and then turning it off and turning it back on again.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Any Van Halen freak knows that. They know that they can hear that. I've never seen that video, though. I'm going to have to see if I can find that.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it for you and try and send it to you, because it's interesting. How about we dive into the 80s? What about the 80s? Do you have a desert island from the 80s? And you have to exclude Van Halen because you already took one.
Yeah. All right. Fine. Those are stupid rules.
All right. They're arbitrary.
Okay. Well, a milestone tone for me would be like "Lay It Down" from Rat, maybe.
Oh my God.
Or the first Rat album I love because of those tones.
Yeah.
But Synchronicity's in there.
That's a great one.
Yeah, I love Synchronicity. Funny story about that. I remember so vividly the day that the Police came through on the Synchronicity tour, and back then I didn't appreciate it. I just thought all those stupid new wavers are gonna go see the Police. I'm gonna stay home and listen to Judas Priest all night. And it's become one of the biggest regrets of my life that I missed that show.
That's wild.
But I'm going to say, for my 80s desert island pick, I'm going to say Holy Diver.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
That's a great one. That's nothing wrong with that.
No.
So you get Holy Diver, which has got Caught in the Middle, which is one of my favorite Dio songs of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic record.
Yeah, and it's got Dio, obviously. If I could have a guitar amp that sounded like Dio's voice, I'd be happy with that forever, too.
Yeah, the chord and it just goes Neon Nights. Yeah. What happened?
Exactly.
No.
There's another interesting thing about that we haven't talked about. I don't know if you know this or not, but the very first Night Swans that Vivian Campbell played were made from Warmoth parts.
That was what's his name, Buddy Blaze, put those together.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. They use a builder out of Texas. Is he still around?
I believe he is.
Okay.
I believe he is.
He was also responsible for, I think, all the mods on the Dimebag Darrell Dean from Hell.
Was he?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he did the Night Swan for Vivian, which was your parts. I didn't know that. Now that's that cool inlay that like swoops up and down the neck, right?
Yeah, it's dots that get bigger and then smaller again, and they kind of swoop on the neck.
Right.
And the lower horn has got kind of an extended, it's rounded out a little deeper. Mm. And then depending on what era you're talking about, he had like a bridge and a middle pickup, but no neck pickup. And then he changed that at some point, and yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
And the ones that you see, the one that has like the lightning bolts on it, and then he has another early one that's all polka dots. Both of those were made with Warmoth parts. And then later on, when Kramer picked it up, none of the Kramer stuff is made from Warmoth parts. Just those first two prototypes that were put together by Buddy Blaze.
No kidding. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I would have known. So let's move along to the later stuff. How about 90s or today? What are you listening to nowadays that's not classic? Is there anything out there you like?
Sure, it's still mostly in the hard rock. I mean, I'm a huge Police fan, huge Sting fan, and he did a lot of great albums in the 90s. I would say my favorite band of the last 10 years is probably Alter Bridge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Miles Kennedy. Now, Miles Kennedy's a Seattle guy, isn't he?
He's from Coeur d'Alene, Spokane area, if I remember correctly, which is eastern Washington.
Right. Yeah.
And
6 hours away. Yeah.
Yeah, not quite. From Seattle to Spokane, it's probably 4.5. To Coeur d'Alene, it's probably another hour.
It depends on how much snow is on the mountain.
Exactly. Yeah. If you go at the wrong time of year, it could be unreachable.
There you go.
But
yeah,
I know they have.
He's got a hell of a voice.
Oh my gosh! Here's another funny story. I went and saw them the last time when they were in Seattle, and I bear a passing resemblance to Miles Kennedy. And I was, dressed up rocker style. I had my leather jacket on, and I had my wife with me, and we walked past the front of the venue, and somebody thought I was Miles Kennedy. Miles! And everybody around gathered around me in this big circle, like, oh my gosh, it's Miles Kennedy. And it took about 4 heartbeats for everybody to realize, no, that's not Miles Kennedy. And then I was just surrounded by disappointed faces that all kind of like melted back into what they were doing. And
oh man, they did that with me once. They were like, John Candy. No, I'm just kidding. That never happened. I was like, damn it, I gotta lose some weight.
Yeah, that's when you go, sorry folks, the park's closed.
Exactly. So Alter Bridge, Watch Over You, fantastic song. They're ballad. Miles had an acoustic record he released maybe like a year ago.
Yeah, I
really good.
Yeah.
I have an embarrassing. It's not embarrassing to me, but everybody else seems to think it is. Acknowledgement. I love Yngwie. I don't think he's a good songwriter. I don't think he's a good songwriter at all. But I think on those first 3 records, which would be like Rising Force through Trilogy, that guitar tone, specifically that lead guitar tone, is some of the best guitar tone I've ever heard. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, to me, especially on that first album, Rising Force, it's the epitome of distorted single coil tone.
It's really good. And I don't know a lot of people that acknowledge him for that. Everybody acknowledges him for the fact that he's super fast and he, whatever. But that tone was really special. And it's not talked about in the same conversation as like the Eddie tone or as Dave said before and as you just said today, Warren DeMartini's tone as well, which was super good. But there's something to that. There's something to that single coil through a Marshall with just, there's some bite and there's some, it almost sounds like it's about to break.
Yes.
It's always on the edge of breaking and it just doesn't break. It's there. And every time I hear that, it kind of makes the hair on my arm stand up. Which leads me to my next thing, which is I think the next guitar that I'm going to put together is going to be some sort of an Yngwie tribute.
Oh, so, yeah?
Yeah, look for my order. It'll be coming through.
Are you going to do scallops?
No.
No,
but what I do want to do, I want to do like a big 70s headstock guitar with a Sonic Blue body. A funny story about the Sonic Blue and why I'm fascinated with Sonic Blue is the Eclipse record that he released, which would have been like 88. I was probably 15 years old when I first heard that record, And the way that the lighting and the artistic design of that record, it shows a lot of like soft blues and yellows on the front of that record. It's almost like they're in there like shadow. And I mistakenly looked at it one day and thought that the guitar he was holding was not his yellow guitar, but it was rather a sonic blue one because of the soft blue that was represented on this cover. And so for years, I always thought, wow, I got to find an Yngwie guitar that's in sonic blue because of that record. The reality was it was the yellow guitar. It was just I was looking at it wrong. And,
Right.
but to this day, it still sticks in my head that because of Yngwie, I need a sonic blue guitar like that one. So one of these days, I'm going to put that together.
It's like that meme. Is this dress white or blue, or what was it, gold or blue?
I remember that. Yeah.
Same deal. Yeah. And again, just goes back to perception. Your perception is your reality.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's totally true. Well, this has been like a lot of fun for me. I appreciate you coming on and talking a little bit about Warmoth and a little bit about you and music and everything. It's the kind of escape that we need right now. It's good.
Agreed. Yes.
Yeah, man. Is there anything else that you wanted to mention about Warmoth or anything like that?
Man, I could go on and on, but I will say that, the people who own Warmoth, it's a great company to work for. They really, like I said before, they let me do whatever I want. They really care about their customers. They care about their product. A lot of people, they don't agree with, which products we choose to develop or whatever, but I can tell you that the people who own Warmoth are awesome. It's a good company.
That's awesome. Now, Ken's daughter runs it today, right?
Yeah. Yep. Ken founded it in 1980 and ran it all the way up until about 2012 or something like that. And then Sandy, his daughter, took over. Yep.
Wow. Every guitar that I've in this stockpile is post 2012. So Sandy, you are doing a fantastic job.
Yes, she is.
All right, Aaron, dude, that was awesome. Thank you again for coming on. This is one of these things that's good for all of us during this downtime where everybody's kind of stuck at home. We get to talk about guitars, talk about music. It was a real pleasure.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, John. It was a ton of fun.
Cool. All right, and with that, folks, we will see you later.